Yeah, trying to understand like how a Christian can just overlook all the Satanism that's in entertainment and movies and in music, but I like little like studios. I think it's LED studios. Yeah, Good Fight Ministries. A lot of them, they make different documentaries about how satanic different shows, different movies, different comic book movies mainly, like different music, celebrities, things like that. They point out the Satanism behind a lot of things. And, I like them for it. But, I realized that there's one guy that claims to be a Christian that's always going against LED studios a lot. Now, I never heard of a pop culture Christian. I mean, is that some kind of new denomination, some kind of new ministry, some kind of new way? Like, I don't know what that is, but like any way that's different from the Bible is antichrist. Period. Because pop culture in itself is antichrist. Pop culture celebrates everything that God hates. Literally everything that God hates is what pop culture glorifies. The lust, pride of life, all of that. See, a Christian, you're supposed to be set apart. You're not supposed to be part of the world cultures and traditions and all that. The Bible has it all set up to where you're supposed to follow that mindset and that mentality. That's what you're supposed to do as a Christian. You're not supposed to try to, move with the times and change everything up to go along with the world.
There is a difference between faith and blind faith. Now, many Christians today have a blind faith. I believe because the Bible tells me so. I don't need anything else. I believe because my parents taught me. That's just how I was raised to believe, and that's how I think. There's also a rational faith. I believe I can pass this test. Why? Because I studied for it. I have faith that my car will start this morning. Why? Because I take care of it and it's worked every other time I've tried turning the key. Now, could I fail that test or my car not start? Absolutely. But you're not irrational for thinking you might pass or that your car will start. Most people like me are not satisfied with the Bible tells me so rationale. It's not enough. And I agree with my atheist and agnostic friends on this.
All right, you said that faith can be irrational. You said you got blind faith, irrational faith. Like faith in general would technically be irrational within the world system. Like real faith is, when you're in like a bad situation, you might be struggling, low on money, or you might be sick or have health issues, and you can't get through those situations, and you need a miracle. You need faith that God will get you through that situation. Faith is when you can't do it and you need God to do it. You need God to help you through a situation. God will see you through it. That's what faith is. Faith is not passing a test or starting a car. I don't know what that is. You said you agree with your atheist and agnostic buddies, period. Like if you are a follower of Christ, a Christian, like you claim to be, there's no way like an atheist can like keep staying an atheist if they hang around you. They have to see that Christ is real. Like, okay, God is real, Christ is real. Okay, okay. This must be something to this whole thing. I'm gonna start following that. Like, I want to have eternal life. I want to be saved from possible eternal damnation. An atheist wouldn't stay an atheist if they are around you and you're a Christian. Otherwise, you must not be a real Christian. You went so far as to go on LED Studios and talk to Scott Mayer and all of them on there for a few hours. And they actually told you and broke down why a lot of those Marvel characters are satanic. And all you did the whole time was just deflect over and over again. That's all, I'm trying to figure out, is this guy an actual Christian? I mean, like whose side is he on? You defended witchcraft, you defended, Antichrist, you defended everything that God hates that entire time in the interview.
Sorcery
Uh,
is obviously in the Lord of the Rings.
sure, yeah.
Okay, so if we go from that premise there,
Uh-huh.
what do you do with a Bible verse like Deuteronomy 18:10 through 12 that says, have nothing to do with witchcraft, wizardry, sorcery, all those necromancy? For those things are literally an abomination to God. So how do you rectify that?
Well, context, because
Okay.
there's a witch in the book of Samuel, and she's called the Witch
She's
of Endor.
evil.
Okay, wait. There's a
Right, but that's context.
There's a difference between the use of witchcraft for a positive means and the use of witchcraft. The Lord of the Rings was not placing witchcraft on the screen to show you what damage it is to be involved with. That's not the context. It's used in the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, did the good guys actually use sorcery? I mean,
But I mean,
Gandalf was just magic.
in
Yeah.
a way that it's like, hey, look, if you get involved in magic and sorcery, the outcome of this is really you're messing with demons. That was the implication that it was used in the Samuel story.
And Holden Hartman has like a warped view of what Christianity is and who Jesus Christ really is. Do you think Jesus Christ really loves pop culture and the movies that's on your page and all those idols that you got up, the idols, Spider-Man, Superman, and Dragon Ball Z and all that stuff that he got up on all of his videos, all over his wall and everything? Do you think Jesus is really for that? I mean, LED Light Studios, when you talk to them, they actually told you like how satanic all of that stuff really is. Being a Christian is not just knowing that Jesus died for your sins. Yes, you have to know that. But you have to pick up your cross and follow him, meaning that you have to actually live and be Christ-like. You have to actually abandon all sin, all ways of the world. The movies, the TV shows that are anti-Christ, you have to abandon all of those things and follow Jesus and follow his path, follow his way. I'm not really like knocking the Marvel movies from I know from a cinematic movie experience, yeah, those were good movies. Yeah. But they were anti-Christ. Disney is a big part of this whole satanic anti-Christ agenda. They're pushing transgenders, LGBT. You do realize that's sin, right? Because I noticed that you defend Marvel and Disney a lot, but you overlook that, but you claim to be a Christian. On Holden Hardman's page, pop culture Christian page, this other main page, I don't see really anything promoting anything godly, even talking about, preaching or reading the Bible, anything, nothing like that. Just a bunch of antichrist movies, TV shows. And see, the thing is that I used to watch all those same kind of movies. Like I was like a huge, huge movie watcher, for a lot of my life. Then I realized, a lot of Satanism, a lot of dark spirits was beyond a lot of those movies, and I shouldn't be watching them. I used to watch, Sopranos, Wire, Breaking Bad, I used to like shows like that. A lot of those old HBO shows that used to be on in like the early 2000s, I used to watch a lot of those a lot of times. And, I even watched Power before, just like on one of your pages, you're talking about The Dark Knight, Batman, The Dark Knight. That was actually like one of my top all-time favorite superhero movies. That used to be one of them, before I realized, the Satanism behind it all. 'Cause I used to like the Joker, but at the same time, Joker, probably one of the most evil, most twisted, most satanic characters ever invented. And, he just got the characteristics of Satan, 100%. Like I said, everything has a spirit behind it. You see what I mean? Like if you say you're a Christian, you're following God. Like what spirits are behind a lot of these movies that you are promoting on your page? You see what I'm saying? Like I noticed you ignore like every spiritual aspect behind movies and TV shows. Like you just completely ignore it. Heath Ledger, the guy who played the Joker in the Dark Knight movie, he caught, I mean, he didn't say he caught satanic spirits, but like, I think he caught a bunch of demonic satanic spirits playing such a dark, psychopathic, just evil character like the Joker. He lost his mind. He ended up killing himself. You see what I mean? That right there should be proof that, there's a lot of Satanism behind a lot of these movies, especially a lot of the characters that's created for a lot of these movies. I noticed you did like the same thing that you accused Little White Studios of doing. You said they were taking false comparisons from different people in the Marvel comic book universe and comparing them to people in the Bible or whatever. You said they were calling out of context examples. Well, no, they really weren't. They were really spot on. But I would say you were the one that was really doing that. Because I see titles on your page such as The Little Mermaid, How the Little Mermaid Helps Us Understand the Sacrifice of Jesus Christ. And how the Daredevil TV show helps us understand the book of Job. A show made by Satanists helps you understand the book of Job. Now, The Boys, I remember seeing some of that show before, like a few years ago. But I remember that was probably one of the most, like, openly blasphemous, like, characters, hating God characters I've probably seen. Yeah, The Boys, like, that whole show was all promoting the gospel, the false gospel of Gnosticism. That's what that whole show is really about. In a nutshell, Gnosticism, they believe that God is actually the devil. They believe God is evil.
As though he cannot help himself, in his 2021 graphic novel, The Tankies, has the central hero, Sergeant Stiles, purposely shoot up a church and justifying it because he's a pagan.
That directly inspired a scene in the second one where Stiles has no problem whatsoever in shooting up a church, in having a tank battle inside a church. And I think at one point when someone says, God, Sarge, isn't this a bit blasphemous? He says, I wouldn't know, I'm a pagan.
Ennis's hatred toward God is further glorified in his popular comic, The Boys, which was adapted by Amazon Studios into a television series that premiered in 2019. Ennis's favorite character in The Boys is, of course, the God-hating, blaspheming leader named Billy Butcher.
You have the boys themselves. I have to say, Carl Urban as Billy Butcher is as close to perfect as I could imagine him being. He's my all-time favorite character.
Ennis evidently scripted Butcher in his own God-hating image for audience consumption and propaganda purposes.
I'm saying, if there is some geezer out there with a big white beard, he's a world heavyweight.
I'm sorry, did you just call God a C word?
Yeah, he's got a hard-on for mass murder and giving kids cancer, and his big old answer to the existential cluster as humanity, is to nail his own bleeding son to a plaque.
Yeah, my conclusion is that you cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve God and the devil. There's no such thing as a pop culture Christian. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section.